Bogdanovich threw it away. Fox. Popped that clutch. Oh!
The goal of basketball is to put the ball in the basket. However, throughout basketball history, the most effective methods for doing that have changed dramatically. Statistics, film study, and analytics have provided teams with new ways of seeing the game, resulting in drastic changes. In this series, I will be analyzing the top offensive team in each of the last 7 years, breaking down what systems and players helped them to achieve success, as well as how offense has evolved in order to hopefully answer the question, what makes an offense great in the modern NBA? If I was to ask, who's the greatest what if in the history of the NBA, what would you say? Names that immediately come to mind include Derrick Rose, Len Bias, and Brandon Roy. And all of these are valid answers, but in my opinion, none of them take the crown. That goes to Arvydas Sabonis. In the words of Bill Walton, Sabonis had the skills of Larry Bird, the athleticism of Kareem, and the ability to shoot threes, pass, run the floor, and dribble. Oh, and I forgot to mention, he was 7'3" and 280 pounds. At the age of just 19 in 1984, Sabonis was named as the best player from all of Europe. He won the award again in 1985, as well as winning Eurobasket MVP and the USSR League Championship. He was drafted in the first round of the 1986 draft by the Portland Trail Blazers, but Cold War political restrictions kept him from joining the league. In the time between him being drafted and him joining the NBA in 1995, Sabonis won the FIBA Club World Cup, the EuroLeague, the USSR Championship twice, the Spanish Championship twice, the EuroLeague MVP twice, the Spanish League MVP twice, a bronze medal at the 1992 Olympics, and a gold medal at the 1988 Olympics, beating the USA in the semifinals. He accomplished all of this while tearing his Achilles tendon twice during this span. By the time he got to the NBA in 1995, he was still a valuable contributor, but if he had joined earlier or hadn't gotten injured, who knows what his ceiling was. While Arvydas never got the chance to realize his potential, Domantas Sabonis was selected 11th overall by the Indiana Pacers in 2016, 30 years after his father. Domantas has a very similar skill set to his dad, operating as an offensive hub from the center position. Let's start with his passing, because he's one of the best passing big men in NBA history. This is a graph of assist percentage against assist to usage ratio in the NBA in 2023. Sabonis is one of the highest volume and highest efficiency playmakers in the sport. He isn't just the one-trick pony either, because a lot of these high-volume playmakers are just pick-and-roll ball handlers who make the same reads every time. But Sabonis has a really deep arsenal. He's really good at finding cutters while he's in the post, he's perfect for giving handoffs to shooters and screening their defenders away for open shots, and he's fantastic at pushing the pace in transition, grabbing rebounds, and immediately looking for the outlet pass. He was also a solid and versatile scorer. His main isolation work was in the post, where he could use his strength, frame, and touch when banging with defenders to get rim attempts or free throws. It wasn't the 1990s anymore, so post offense was no longer the dominant style, but these shots were perfectly serviceable. He could also act as a complementary piece through the pick and roll or pick and pop. As a 49% mid-range shooter and a 37% three-point shooter, Sabonis was a capable scorer from all three levels. As the league leader in offensive rebounds, he could also position himself under the rim to get easy putback opportunities. Like his father before him, Sabonis' ability to both score and create in a multitude of different ways gave him a monster offensive impact. It would be near impossible to find a Kings offensive possession in which Sabonis didn't make some sort of contribution, whether it was by grabbing the initial rebound, getting an assist, setting a screen, or grabbing an offensive rebound. Sabonis was the quarterback of the offense, but in order for a quarterback to be successful, he needs a wide receiver. What do you think the most effective play in basketball is? There are a lot of candidates. In 2023 specifically, Luka Doncic's isolations were worth about 1.11 points per shot, which is really good. Donovan Mitchell's pick and rolls were worth 1.13. Stephen Curry's handoffs were worth 1.2, and Nikola Jokic's post-ups came in at 1.22. You know what's worth more than all of these? The average transition possession. Fast breaks are easily the most effective plays in the NBA. The average transition is worth about 1.27 points per possession, while half-court sets are worth about 0.98. It's much easier to score when defenses don't have time to get set, which can lead to miscommunications and mismatches. Based on this, it stands to reason that if you push the pace off misses to get more fast break opportunities, your offense will be more efficient. The Sacramento Kings proved exactly that. While their efficiency wasn't the highest among transitions, a below-average transition possession is still an above-average offensive possession in the NBA. The Kings led the league in frequency of transition possessions, with 20.3%. Leading the charge was De'Aaron Fox. Fox was named the fastest player in the league by NBA 2K every year from 2020 until 2025. This was for good reason. Fox is a blur in transition. His highlight package is almost more reminiscent of an NFL receiver sprinting past defenders than an NBA player. He fit perfectly with Sabonis, sprinting up in transition whenever Sabonis grabbed a rebound. This is a graph comparing the points and efficiency for transition plays in 2023. Fox is right up there in elite company. He was more than just a transition scorer though. Fox also ran more traditional pick and roll offensive sets in the half court. His main weapon was using his speed to get to the rim, but he also developed some counters like a pull-up mid-range jumper, which he made at a solid 51%. He wasn't the strongest playmaker in these positions, but his lack of turnovers helped compensate for that. However, the Kings knew that even with their elite transition, if they ran the typical pick and rolls for Fox and post-ups for Sabonis in the half court, it wouldn't be enough to succeed. To achieve the league's best offense, they needed to switch things up, and they looked to other teams for inspiration. In my opinion, the most important factor in the Kings' success wasn't Fox or Sabonis or any of their players. It was the innovative coaching of Mike Brown. Brown looked around the league at the best offenses in the NBA and pulled an amalgamation of different concepts which he felt would suit his roster. Let's start with the Golden State Warriors, where Brown worked as an assistant coach from 2016 to 2022. We know that the Warriors' main innovation was their off-ball movement, as a large majority of their offense came off screens, cuts, and handoffs. This has proven to be effective, mainly because it's easier for players to lose their defender if they aren't restricted by having to dribble the ball. Mike Brown immediately implemented this concept for the Kings, leading to great success, as the Kings were able to replicate many of Golden State's actions using their own movement shooter in Kevin Huerter. Huerter led the league in points off handoffs, ahead of Stephen Curry, and these plays were worth about 1.15 points per possession, which is great half-court offense. These movement sets are of course run through Domantas Sabonis, the center. This is a tactic Mike Brown took directly from the Denver Nuggets and league MVP Nikola Jokic. The premise is simple. By running the offense through the big man in the middle of the floor, you take the opposing center out of the paint and allow for easier shots at the rim. Another advantage of this is that because the big man has the ball, the other four players are likely smaller, more athletic guards and wings, which makes their off-ball movement more effective. This differs slightly from the Warriors, as Draymond mainly receives the ball as a roller, rather than just standing in the middle of the court like Jokic or Sabonis. Mike Brown's copycat coaching made the Kings one of the most fun to watch teams in the NBA, as their cutting-edge offense was a buzzsaw in the regular season. Defenses simply didn't know how to deal with their pace in transition or their off-ball movement in the half-court. However, the question remains, was this core good enough to bring the Kings an NBA championship? In my last video, I made the argument that the Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert Utah Jazz shouldn't have been blown up, because I think that with some retooling, they could have had some serious playoff success. I do not share that same opinion about the Sacramento Kings. In the 2023 playoffs, the Kings matched up with the Golden State Warriors, losing in 7 games. But more concerningly than that, their offensive rating dropped from 118.6 in the regular season to just 110.7 in the playoffs. There are a few reasons for this, including the fact that the Warriors knew a lot of the plays Mike Brown ran, making them a bad matchup for the Kings. However, the main reason, in my opinion, was that Kevin Huerter, the Kings' diet Stephen Curry, shot just 20.5% from 3 over the 7 games, after shooting 40.2% in the regular season. I believe that Huerter's insane shooting over the season was a hot streak. He's clearly a good shooter, but keeping pace with Stephen Curry just isn't sustainable for him. Since that season, he hasn't shot over 36% from 3. Without Huerter's outlier shooting, the Kings didn't have enough reliable half-court sets to keep their offense afloat. Especially when considering they have a poor defense, they needed an elite offense to be successful. The following season, the Kings were the 9th seed in the West, and they posted the league's 14th best offense. Still above average, but nowhere near enough to be competitive at the top of the sport. At this point, I don't think there was anything the Kings could have done, and firing Mike Brown definitely didn't help, as they missed the playoffs again in 2025 before collapsing into the worst team in the West this season. The only way that I can see this Kings team being successful is if there was an alteration made to the original Domantas Sabonis trade. I mentioned earlier that one of Fox's weaknesses is his passing, which limits the effectiveness of his pick and rolls and the Kings' half-court offense as a whole. Imagine if they had Tyrese Haliburton instead. Haliburton was the player who was traded for Sabonis, and I think if they had traded Fox instead, the Kings would have been a serious problem. Haliburton is perfect for this system. He was the lead guard of the Indiana Pacers, who posted the second best offensive rating in 2024, with the second fastest pace in the NBA. Like Fox, he could push the ball in transition, and he can score in the pick and roll in the half court. However, his passing is what separates him, making their offensive profiles not even comparable. Haliburton's playmaking would have reduced the Kings' reliance on difficult movement shots and given them a more stable base to operate out of in the half court. They could still run all the same sets with Sabonis, they just wouldn't have to rely on it so heavily. In the 2025 playoffs, Haliburton's Pacers showed that a team with a pace-pushing transition offense can find success in the playoffs. However, the Kings couldn't. Despite the fact that they only really had one elite season, this Sacramento Kings team might be the most fun NBA team I remember watching. They also managed to break a 16-year playoff drought and fought to the bitter end against the Warriors. I think Mike Brown deserves a lot of credit for his creative integration of other teams' successful concepts with his roster. His innovation, along with the unique and talented profiles of Domantas Sabonis and De'Aaron Fox, made the Light the Beam Kings one of the best offenses in modern NBA history.
It's a surreal feeling. We did it. We did it!